Thank you so much, Ronald. Thank you so much, Ronald. Sorry about my background. I'm in another space, but I hope you can hear me. You can hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you. We can hear you
I
loud
have
and clear.
failed, for some reason, I have failed to share my screen. So I've sent you my presentation. Please check your WhatsApp. Maybe you can share off.
Let me do that.
Okay, thank you. But just as we start, so our topic today is managing mental health and business demands as an entrepreneur. Yeah, maybe just very quickly in the chat, what businesses are you in? Okay, there's some that already shared. As an entrepreneur already, what are your business demands? What are your daily business demands? Maybe you can share very quickly in the chat. What would you say your daily business demands are? For some people, it could be delivering a service. Other people, it could be, I don't know, manufacturing something. Okay. Then it says sales, manufacturing. Yes, what are the others? What are the other people's business demands? Guys, this is going to be an interactive session. We only have between 9 to 10. Okay, supervision. Josephine says supervision. Any other people? Managing teams, strategy, fundraising. Okay. Evaluation. Yeah. So as an entrepreneur in business, I don't know where your business is at. I don't know which environment it is in. I don't know what your business needs could be, but everywhere right now, there is a need for mental health. Yeah. And we are going to understand, one, what mental health is, because I know that very many people are getting it wrong. They don't know what it is. They don't understand it. They don't know who has it and who doesn't. They don't know how to identify what they are maybe going through, other people around them. And there's a lot of stigma around it. Yeah, so we're going to understand what mental health is, then the commonest mental health issues in the workplace, and then understand the different triggers and stressors in your business or around your workplace, according to your employees, their ages, the gender, business demands, and then maybe your business, where your business is at. It could be a startup, it could be at production stage, it could be at seeking funding stage, it could be at, I don't know, it could be at seeking partners stage, any of that. So we're going to start with mental health. Just to remind you, in case someone has just logged in, our topic today is managing mental health and business demands of an entrepreneur. Yeah. Let's go to the next slide. So what is mental health? Yeah. What is mental health? Maybe let's go back to the first one so that people can just share very quickly what they think. Let's go back to the first slide, Ronald. So what do you think mental health is according to you? In the chat, or maybe you can have someone, one or two people, just raise your hand and share with us what you think mental health is. Guys, this is your session. Feel free to raise your hand. I may not see the... Okay, Millie, please go ahead. Millie, we can't hear you.
It is the state of my emotions as I go around my daily business routines.
What about your personal routine?
Inclusive, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. I thought you had excluded it. Thank you so much, Millie. Any other person? What about that gentleman? What do you think mental health is? Or it's just for ladies? Okay, someone says mental well-being. How about we describe it without putting mental there? Okay, so let's go to the next slide and see what it really is. Because everyone has mental health, everyone. It's until you're struggling, that's when you have mental ill health, or you have a mental illness or a mental health struggle. So mental health, it includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It definitely affects our thoughts, how we think, how we feel, and how we act. All those things have a causal relationship. If someone does something, it will make you think in a certain way. And then it will make you, it will move down to producing particular emotions. And then these emotions will drive you to either say something back, respond, or react, or particularly do something to this person, or as a result of whatever they have done to you. It also helps us determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices or take decisions. Yeah. So when you're mentally healthy, your decisions, the decisions that you'll take will be healthy decisions, will be timely decisions. They will be good for, like, well thought out decisions. Even your choices will not be disruptive. So when you think about mental health, where is it located? It is definitely on the part of our body. It is located in our brain. Yeah. I gave an example of a car. Before a car runs, or before it starts, or before you even put fuel, the most important thing in a car is an engine. If the engine breaks down, even when you have a full tank, the car won't move. So think about your brain as the engine of your body, because everything happens here. Your thoughts, your thinking. I keep telling people, you see, when people say he broke my heart, or I'm in love with him, all those things happen here. Yeah, love happens here because it's brain chemistry. There's something that someone does, or there are things that a group of things that a person does that make you start to notice them, start to like them, but all that happens in the brain. This heart just pumps blood. Yeah. So mental health is basically a state of your emotional, psychological, and social well-being, affecting how we think, feel, and act. Let's go to the next slide. So in the workplace, or in your business, in your side hustle, there are definitely things that affect you. It could be anything, but the commonest mental health issues in the workplace, and even away from the workplace. Remember that when we say the workplace, we are not necessarily saying your place of business or address, or workplace, like where you work. Sometimes we mean even at home, because when you carry baggage, personal baggage from home into the workplace and vice versa, that remains your workplace. Some people carry work home. That would be your workplace, basically your work environment. So some of the commonest mental health issues around work or around business, there is stress, anxiety, depression, and burnout. Of course, there are so many other mental health issues, mental health illnesses and disorders, but I chose to concentrate on these 4. Why? Because they are the things that you will see very often. They are the immediate things that may happen very often. Apart from depression, depression will come at the end of the spectrum, meaning you've been stressed and you've failed to address the stress. Then it creates anxiety. Then it will move on into depression. So depression really would take a long time for us to diagnose and say this person is. So what is stress? First of all, stress is normal. It's a normal reaction to the pressures of daily life. Yeah. It's your body's response to any change that causes emotional, physical, or psychological strain. Of course, it can be acute, chronic, or episodic. Acute stress. Let me just break down these types of stress. So when something happens, let's say they call you and they say, we have lost someone, a family member, a loved one, you're definitely going to go into acute stress. It's immediate. Yeah. It's immediate because of the bad news. Definitely, it creates some sort of strain. emotional distress, physical, you could start crying simply because of this loss. And then there is chronic stress. Chronic stress normally happens also in the workplace. Why? Because you'll notice that if you're running a business, it will take some time. Like, let's say if it's a startup, it will take some time for this startup, number one, to be visible, number two, for the business idea to be maybe profitable. It will take time for you to set up systems, to run operations, to get the support that you need, the funding. So you could go through chronic stress because it's stress that happens after you've gone through struggle for a long time. Yeah. Another example of chronic stress is when you have, let's say, a patient who has been diagnosed with a chronic illness. It will take some time between diagnosis, prognosis, course of treatment, looking for money for that treatment. It will take some time for you to go through. You'll have so many uncertainties. You'll have so much of financial distress, so much of emotional distress, so much of family distress when you're trying to cater to this patient. Yeah. And of course, there's a lot that comes with chronic stress. There is shock, there is denial, then there is the point of acceptance. Then you start this journey of treatment or dealing with this particular issue. So acute stress happens immediate, chronic stress happens over a long period of time, and then episodic is when there is an event happening. Like, for instance, if I've heard of people saying, we are preparing for board, I'm writing my board paper, and they say we can't meet until board is done. That could cause episodic stress because the time that you have to commit to do this board paper, your board presentation, to answer particular audit questions, it could be 3 weeks before the board sits for you to answer all these questions the way you should answer to them. So that kind of stress is a mental health issue that that is the commonest in the workspace. Meanwhile, feel free to send in your questions, your comments in the chat. Don't wait for Q&A. Yeah. Then, of course, when stress is not treated, when stress is not identified, when you don't manage it, it will definitely cause anxiety. Yeah. It causes anxiety, which is a feeling of fear or dread or pending doom. You've seen people who are constantly worried that something wrong is going to happen. Normally people say, that person is pessimistic. Yes, but what causes this pessimism? Yeah. Pessimism is actually the brain trying to cushion your expectations. Yeah. Saying that, you know what, let me not have any positive expectations, so that if I'm let down, I'm not really, down. I'm not so disappointed because it's something I expected. I expected no good out of that. So anxiety is a feeling of dread when you're constantly worried about. So in the business, for instance, when COVID happened, there are so many businesses that closed. But then there are so many also entrepreneurs who had just started their businesses that struggled. They didn't know if they would make it or not. Then if you're employed, you did not know if you will stay with your job. Some people lost jobs. Some people stayed, but they were getting half pay. Other people stayed, but they were not being paid. Okay. So yeah, anxiety is another common mental health issue. Depression. So you've heard of, long time ago, they used to say this person has malaria plus. So I like to relate it to depression, because once you have malaria and you don't treat it, it will definitely escalate. So that, look at malaria and relate it to your stress. Stress not treated moves into anxiety and then morphs into depression. And depression is a mood disorder. You've heard of people saying that person has mood swings. I just don't understand them. Well, when the mood swings go on for a very long time, like 6 weeks, and this person is maybe not interested in what they used to be interested in, they've withdrawn socially, maybe you're inviting them to, probably in a workplace, you're telling someone, we need this thing by this deadline, and they're constantly pushing the deadline. They're constantly procrastinating on when they will finish the work, when they'll be able to hand it over, when they'll have the meeting, and they're not enthusiastic about anything. then you definitely know that this person could be on the spectrum for depression. And I'm not saying anyone who is demotivated is depressed. No, it takes some time, and it takes a category for someone to tick off about 9 symptoms of depression. There's something we use called PHQ-9, where the person has to tick all those. Let's say if they ask questions like, how often do you feel sad? How easy is it for you to wake up from bed? How often do you report to work on time? There are particular questions that are supposed to be answered for the person to be over time, over like 6 weeks or more, for you to conclude that this person is depressed. So in one sitting, in one assessment, in one consultation, we cannot say that you are depressed. We would say you have all these symptoms that show depression, but let's observe, let's see. Yeah, the other one is burnout. Burnout, I think you've all heard of it. Some people do not know that's what's happening to them. But you know that thing of you're feeling like you're constantly in a hurry, like in your day, the 24 hours are not enough. The 8 hours of work are not enough. You feel swamped, you're exhausted, but you also don't feel like you have any support. Yeah. So even while the support is in place, you still feel overwhelmed. Yeah. That's burnout, because after you're overwhelmed and swamped and feeling exhausted, you lose interest in the work. You're demotivated. Burnout can cause you not to want to go to your business. It can cause you not to have any ideas. You run out of ideas, or you get an idea and not even see it through, or not present it because of burnout. You can still hear me, I hope.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. So these are the commonest mental health issues in the workplace. If you're an entrepreneur, if you have a side hustle, if you're starting a business, if you're employed, these are some of the things that you can look out for, just to mind yourself or be aware of when this thing is starting to happen to you, or even the things that are around you. The other thing I can tell you is most of these things are contagious. What do I mean? So when someone is stressed or when someone is anxious, do you realize that if they come into your space, they can very easily, they can very easily create a certain tension around you as well. For instance, if a boss came into the workplace or in the office and he's walking very fast and he's shouting, saying, where is my coffee? You guys don't work. You guys are always late. We have this deadline. If this person has this energy around them, it will create a certain energy in the workplace. It will spread through the office, and there'll be a certain fear of, the boss is in a very bad mood today. And this bad mood will spread through. So some of these things, why are we telling you about them? Why should you be aware? Is so that if it starts to happen to you, you deal. But if it starts to happen to someone near you, in your space, in your workplace, at home, you can easily help them or support them. Or if you don't have the time, you can either seek support for them or remove yourself from that space. Yeah. Let's move on to the next slide. So we've understood what mental health is, and we have also talked about the mental health, like the main commonest mental health issues in the workplace. But these mental health issues are caused by other things, the things that trigger and stress mental health in a business, for an entrepreneur, in a workplace. Yeah. So there are so many reasons that could trigger you. And I know that you may not understand the difference between a trigger and a stressor. And probably someone can share with us what they think a trigger is. Anyone? Millie, do share with us. Just unmute and share.
It's basically the cause which gets somebody into that space of emotional status.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Millie. Any other person? What happened to the guys on this call? Guys, we're waiting for you. What triggers you in the workplace to probably be stressed? What is a trigger according to you? Ronald, do you want to help the guys? Or pressure to meet targets? Okay, so people are stating what triggers them. Unrealistic deadlines. Okay, that's good. So anyway, a trigger is a stimulant. Yeah, it's a stimulant for either negative or positive outputs. Yeah, but in this case, we are looking at the negative triggers. Yeah, the things that trigger you to be either in emotional distress that could cause you to be stressed, anxious, or depressed, or even burnt out as an entrepreneur. So, but the difference between a trigger and a stressor is a catalyst. A stressor means there is already something happening and it just makes the situation worse. While the trigger, it's the snap. It is the beginning of whatever is going to happen. Yeah. So these, please keep them coming. We shall read them. So understanding the different triggers and stressors of mental health in a business, I try to come up with financial, personal, social, and other issues. So under financial, definitely one of the triggers or stressors is lack of money. If you're in a business, but you have no money coming in and you have no money to run the business operations, maybe one of your staff gets a problem and you don't have emergency fund. Like let's say, normally people lose people. Yeah, someone loses a mother, a child, and sometimes you have to tap into that emergency fund to say, you know what, we shall contribute 500K to the people who are going for burial. We shall contribute 300,000 for airtime. That is, so definitely, what would definitely cause mental health issues in this workplace or trigger them is lack of money for operations, lack of money for emergency, lack of money to invest. Yeah, if you have an idea but it needs money, it needs people, it needs human resource, it needs particular people maybe to do a software or an application. If you have no money to maybe to purchase property, it could be simple things like purchasing of things you need in the office, a printer, maybe your printer is down, maybe renting a space, maybe before you were in Mengo and now you want to come to maybe Nakasero, that could definitely trigger. But financial does not have to be only in the workplace. Some financial is personal, it is individual. For instance, during COVID time, very many people lost jobs, lost business, lost money, lost property for one reason or another. So it created financial distress on the family, on the individual. If you're a man and you're supposed to provide for your family, definitely that caused stress, it caused anxiety, it caused hardship. Yeah. Some people's relationships didn't survive this financial strain. The other trigger or stressor could be personal, like loss, and loss could be anything, could be loss of a person, a loved one, could be loss of a business, could be loss of a relationship. Illness was another thing, is another thing. If you fall sick today, can your business survive? Or are you the accountant, the CEO, the team lead, I can give you an example. We are in this mental health field. Yes, I'm a mental health consultant. I counsel people, but our business is so emotional. It's an emotional business. It's about, I could have all my credentials and then somehow the person feels it's not a good fit, or the person feels I'm too young to know about their problems, or they feel like they can't trust me. So our business is based on likability. It's based on, is it a good fit for me? It's based on energy. Someone could come one time and never come back and say, there's a way she looked at me that I didn't like. There's a way she looked at me and she looked like she was judging me. Yeah. So, first, it could be so many things. So, the other thing is social. So you all know that, for instance, today I'm at Serena and I'm attending this League of East African Directors Convention. I'm a director myself, but for a smaller company. What did I come to do? To listen, because I'm constantly talking. So I came to listen into other people, other directors. But most importantly, why I came is to network. So if you don't have friends, if your network is poor, if you can't communicate, let's say in your workspace, what drives business, what drives production, what drives service delivery, what drives profit is communication. Communication or lack of it could drive the business down. So these are some of the triggers. A lack of trust in the brand. Yeah. For instance, when you say, let's say if you put up a post now and whatever business you're in, and they say, we are looking for a doctor, would they name you as the best doctor among the first 3 in this country, among the first 5? Would someone, many people, would they recommend you? Do they even know about your business? Unresolved conflict is another trigger for mental health issues in a business. If, let's say, you're a supplier, between you, the supplier, the vendor, and your client, between suppliers, between even your neighbor. Yeah, you could be renting space here and your next door neighbor, there is a disconnect. If you don't resolve the conflict, definitely. There are so many other issues. Political instability. Recently, we had shootings. I know for a fact that there are so many people who are troubled. There are so many people who are stressed. There are many people who are anxious when a police car would pass them. I remember a friend of mine told me she ducked. So imagine traffic, your car is here, and then this police car is making way. Of course, the sirens are going off, but then there are all these people, the guards that are seated and are pointing direction to you. So she found herself ducking when they passed, simply because of this, the shootings that were going around. She was scared of a stray bullet. And at that time, she didn't even think that she would be scared. But she was scared because in her subconscious, it was dangerous, in dangerous environment and society. Yeah. Okay. There are so many people who are shared. What triggers them? It can be a stressor. Yes, definitely. If you have not paid your tax, if they're inquiring about things that you've not done. I remember sometime, yes, doing my work, when I was asked for TCC, my dear, the trade clearance certificate. In our business, because it's under medical, we don't pay VAT. So we pay withholding tax. But for some reason, it was such a process. And I almost let go of the business because I was like, there's no one who has ever asked me to present a TCC. Why are these people stressing me? But because I wanted the business, it was also something to learn. But I can tell you that it really stressed me. And also the process to get that TCC, it delays about 48 hours. And I had a deadline. Yeah, it was something I learned, but it definitely triggered my stress and anxiety. Will I get the business? Will I make the deadline or not? Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Work overload, pressure at work, financial instability, lack of job stability. Lack of job stability is a big thing. Job insecurity, maybe to put it in a different way. Yeah. So after understanding what mental health is and understanding the commonest mental health issues in the workspace, then we understand the triggers and stressors of mental health in a business or in a workplace. We're going to move on how to manage our mental health, how to deal with our businesses, and we'll be done. I hope your questions are ready. So basically, mental health, everyone has it until you don't. Everyone has it until it's challenged by a problem. It could be personal. It could be in the workplace. It could be anywhere. It could be around family. It could be around your spouse, your best friend. All you have to do is be mindful of what you're going through, where you are at in maybe mentally, your mental state, your emotional, resilience, emotional readiness to take up on certain things. I keep telling people that the mind believes what you tell it. Yeah. If you tell your mind that you can't do this, then your mind definitely sits back and relaxes and says, let other people do it. Me, I can't. You see. So how can we manage our mental health as entrepreneurs? Number one, understand your business environment and your business needs versus your personal needs. When I say business environment, let someone maybe share with us their business and what their business environment is. Just one person, your business, and then your business environment. Let us make an example of that. Guys, there's so many people. Okay, there's a hand up. Please feel free to unmute and just share with us. I see a hand up. Please unmute and share. Richard Evans or Tim?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for the presentation. I am a civil engineer, but I'm a business environment for the agribusiness. So precisely, I'm engaged in agriculture, crop farming, and my business environment is characterized by a lot of informal workers, basically people who you train on job, and their unreliability is a big factor in the business, in the production health, in the running the farm. And also the community, the surrounding communities. My farm is in Amuru and Noya, so the surrounding community is largely the rural illiterates. So the environment around is characterized by a lot of theft, and for both the crop and then the properties on the farm. So yeah, precisely that's the nature of the kind of environment I am in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, Otim, just let us engage you a bit further. What would you say your business needs are, given your business environment and what would you say your business needs are?
My need based on my experience, is a kind of like community. In this case, even when we experiment, you get an adamant response, because I think largely commercial farming is taking, especially in northern Uganda, is taking shape of recent. So the business concept from the local community is completely not appreciated. So people think like if you're farmed, if you have, and so when I have so many cases in the LC1 court. So so now in my situation right now, I don't even know what I could suggest. Maybe a local council ordinance that can protect commercial farmers in this kind of arrangement is very challenging. And then also for farm workers, you train, you get informal sectors, you train them maybe in crop management, machine operations, then there is poaching. Another farmer who has just started realizes that there is this, because they do not understand the trade. So they entice your workers that I'm going to give you, how much you're earning, 300,000 a month. Then they say, I'm going to give you 600,000. So your best operator for the machine, for the tractors, for the planters, they go away, only to discover several months later that actually this new entrant into the business is not good enough. But in between then, you have lost so much in terms of productivity. So these are the kind of an environment. It's not very lean in terms of a working setup whereby maybe you can see quick interventions, because largely it's a new ground. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Otim, for sharing. I guess you can see now you have to study, you have to know what your business environment is. Whatever business you're in, you have to understand what is the core of your business. What is your daily demand to make this business thrive? Then what is the business environment? And then what are your business needs? Yeah. But when I said versus your personal needs, because as you're chasing the business, as you're making or fulfilling the business needs, your personal needs are not independent of those. Yeah. You'll find that while you have a meeting, the child got sick. So there's a need to take the child to hospital. However, do you have support for someone to help you take the child so that you can be comfortably in the meeting and deliver what you need? Or you'll have to forfeit one. Either the child will wait or the business will suffer. Yeah. So you have to understand your business environment and your business needs versus your personal needs. I'm in the field of definitely mental health. Our business environment there's a lot of stigma around mental health. There is so much mistrust around the people who deliver this service. There is so much need for confidentiality. However, not very many of us, because confidentiality is not taught, it is a personality. Yeah, you have to have it, and then you master more of it. Then yes, the same business environment, people still think that this service should be had for free because they were used to elders giving the counsel or people in church doing the counseling. So the business environment is such that people want a service that they don't want to pay for. The business environment is such that people do not, number one, there's no awareness about mental health. It is very minimal and there's a lot of stigma. What are our business needs? Number one, if only in our country, especially Uganda, if only they would increase the budget for mental health, because in the whole public health budget, I think mental health is like 1% of that budget. So those are some of our business needs. Yeah. The other thing is manage your response to change. Yeah. We live in a state where you may not be sure of what will happen in 2 months' time. You can predict, you can anticipate, you can prepare, but you have to know how to respond to change when it happens. Change of, let's say you expected to get this contract, but somehow, because of budget constraints, they decided you are the vendor they have to cut out of the budget. You're the vendor that can wait. Yeah. Probably it was supposed to be your payday. They're supposed to pay you this large sum of money and they decide that they will pay you in installments. That could stress you. It could create anxiety. It could create demotivation, so many things. However, you have to be mindful of, how do I respond to this change? How do I manage? When it happens, how do I manage from here on out? The other thing is build a support system at work and at home. If you're going to, okay, Alan raised your hand. Yes, very quickly, share with us. I don't know what you want to share. Alan? Yes,
okay.
Alan.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
I entirely agree with what the previous speaker mentioned, that some of the challenges that we really face at work, it's not necessarily a lot to do with sometimes business not coming through, but it's very frustrating when, for example, you empower and train young people, and after training them, they go and then sometimes without mention and without even negotiating that they need a higher pay, and they just disappear. It is very frustrating. But also on the other hand, sometimes because we invest in them, they definitely have a number of challenges that they want to deal with. And they are looking at you, or as the employer, as the source solution to all their problems. And at the end of the day, you see that affecting work, and it is affecting output, and then it is stressing. So a lot of the time it's not really the work that we do, it is really the people that we work with. And then when there is no support system at work, and then sometimes at at home, because we don't want to take this stress at home. You don't want to reach at home, you're telling your family what you've been going through every other day. You just keep it to yourself, and it ends up taking a toll on ourselves.
Okay. Thank you, Alan, for sharing. Thank you so much. Yeah, continuing about building a support system at work. You see, a support system may not be able to cater to all your needs as and when you need help. Yeah. However, they can take off some of the load. For instance, at work, there is always someone that you will not connect with, or someone that is hard to work with, or someone that is complicated, but never fail to have an ally in the workplace. They may not be in your department. Find someone that is your go-to, that you can ask all your questions, that has been in the workspace before you or longer than you, that probably is older than you, but someone that you can also trust, yeah, to confide in, or even just ask any question or something that you're struggling with to share. Sometimes when people come for any counseling, they're not looking for solutions. They're looking to be heard. They're looking to offload and then be on their way. They feel lighter, they feel relief, but they have trusted you with their innermost challenges. So even at home, for instance, if you're employed and you're a mother, you're a wife, you have children, you need a nanny. That is part of your support system. Believe it or not, you need a nanny, because you don't want to come from work and start cooking or start cleaning or you need someone who will put your house in order so that you can also be comfortable as you make the money, and someone is tending to your home. Yeah, there's so much around support system, but most importantly, find what works for you. According to your business environment, according to your business needs or personal needs, find what works. Which kind of support do you need? I could have children, but they're all in boarding and I don't need a maid. Yeah. So find the support that works for you. The other thing is establish a routine where you can do, delegate, diarize, or delete. When I said do, what are the things that you only can do? You only must do. There are so many times when you're invited to speak or invited to deliver something. And as an organization, as a startup, as a business, they want you in particular. You know, they don't want a representative. They don't want your subordinate. They don't want your colleague. They want you. So that is something that you must do. The things that you can delegate are the things that don't require you in particular specifically to deliver. There are things that other people are good at and they can do without your presence, without your input, and you can trust them to deliver. The things that you can diarize are things that are not immediate, things that are not, probably not in this month, and therefore end of next month. Probably you can put those things aside so that your mental space is not clouded with all the things that you must do, but yet they can wait. So those are things that you can diarize. Things that you can delete are things that there is no point in doing them. They'll not yield any advantages when you do them. Really, they don't help anyone. They don't help you personally. They don't help the business. They don't help anyone around you. Don't ruminate is another thing. Seek to find solutions first. What is rumination? Rumination is going on and on about a negative thing. If today someone maybe decides to take your keyboard from your desk without permission because you are on leave, when you come back and they return it, do not go on about this keyboard. Don't tell your next, the person seated next to you, your boss, your supervisor, the person you have lunch with. Don't call home and say, can you imagine? There is this particular workmate who really is very disrespectful. That is rumination. Sorry, I didn't know my video was off. That is rumination. Whatever happens, whenever there is a challenge, seek to find a solution first and then move on. Yeah. The other thing is pay attention to your psychological wounds, like failure or rejection. We've all dealt with business. Either you've gone for a job interview and they've said, we regret to tell you that we went with a different, or we decided that you're not fit for the job, or we decided to go with someone who is cheaper, the service is cheaper. We have all gone through that. But do you stop there? Do you stop looking for business? Do you just give up? Definitely, you have failed at that. You have been rejected. However, you can rise above that. It definitely will cause you stress, but you need to learn to manage. If I have failed today, understand why you failed, then understand how you can do better. Understand why they didn't choose you. Understand why you are not the best person for the job. Yeah. And then seek to. The other thing is seek clarity in all communication. The major issue why people are stressed at work is because they don't have clear communication. Clear communication on the role they're supposed to do, on the job they're supposed to execute, on the people they're supposed to work with, on the processes. Yeah. Who says what, who okays what, who signs what. All those can create a glitch in communication. If there is little or no communication, or it's unclear, definitely will cause mental health issues in the workplace. Exercise, sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene is basically your wake up and going to bed time. Do you sleep for the same amount of hours every day? I know that is hard, but you can try to say 4 out of 7, I try. We all set an alarm to wake up. How many people set an alarm to go to bed? I know I have one. I had to. Who has an alarm to go to bed? What does this alarm do for you? The alarm to go to bed and the alarm to wake up. Notice that every day you set your alarm at 5. You wake up, going about your business, whether you slept at 1, at 4, at 3, at 9. So it means you do not sleep for the same amount of hours every day. However, if you set an alarm to go to bed, while you may not exactly go to bed at 10 every day, this alarm reminds your brain that it's time to shut down. When it goes off, it's just like this alarm that you set to wake up. When you set it and every time it goes off at 5 for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, in the second month, you won't need the alarm to wake up. The brain would have mastered your wake up time, and whether the alarm goes off or not, you will wake up around 5, 10 to 5, 15 past 5. That is how the brain works. So sleeping will help you as an entrepreneur. Number one, to think straight. You'll be able to, you rested, the brain shut down. So now you can easily focus, make decisions as fast as. However, if you don't get enough sleep, you know what happens in your day. The day is a drag. You're feeling already exhausted mentally, emotionally. You're just physically, you're tired. The other thing is exercise. Exercise to release feel-good hormones. Of course, when we're at work, there are so many decisions that we have to take that will tire us mentally. Yeah. When it comes to women, between leaving the house and heading to your office, you've already taken 30 decisions. The kind of earrings you're going to wear, the color of lipstick you made, that dress, should you wear a print or stripes? The shoe, if you have maybe 3 cars you're choosing, should I take maybe the Spacio or the Mercedes? There are so many decisions that you're making. Yet normally men are very good at this. They have maybe black and navy blue suits and white shirts. So it's just black suit, white shirt, black shoes, and they're on their way. So you realize that even their decisions are fewer. So the men will easily take up and make decisions so fast because there's no decision fatigue. Yeah. In their day-to-day. They've not made small, tiny decisions before the major decision is supposed to happen. So when you exercise, there's a way the body is just ready to, it releases the stress hormone that is released when you're stressed, when you're at work, when you had a hard day, cortisol, and it's replaced by feel-good hormones like oxytocin, dopamine. So exercise does that for you. However, the exercise should break a sweat. If it doesn't break a sweat, then the feel-good hormones are not produced. The other thing is you mind your diet. For you to be able to manage your mental health, you need to watch what you're eating. What goes in goes everywhere. Yeah. So if you take, like, let's say coffee, you will find that your intake of coffee will also depend on your body weight, your body response to this coffee. The people will take coffee at a certain time and will lose sleep throughout the night. So know exactly what your body needs and eat just that. Things like chamomile tea, they help with sleep. Yeah, they have a calming effect, they relax the muscles, and you're able to just drift off to sleep. However, there's another person who will use chamomile tea and it won't work. So chamomile tea is just like exercise. Yeah. Exercise done at the right time can easily put you to a restful, deep REM sleep. Yeah. Lastly, ask for help from the people who have more experience to avoid mistakes. Normally, when we are facing a challenge, we are at this challenge and we are having sleepless nights. But what I can tell you is these challenges are not new. There are people who have been where you've been. There are people who have made the same mistakes that you're about to make. Make use of asking. There are people who are okay to share information that will help you not make the same mistakes and that will help you. It will not stress you. It will not make you anxious. It will put your business on a certain level. As a person who is a lead in the business or an entrepreneur, when you do this group of things and many others, I just shared just a bit, please, at the end of the day, find what works for you. Find what your mental health needs. Find what your physical health needs. Find what your business needs. Find what you as a person need, and then stick to that. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Grace. That was very enlightening. Clearly a topic which I believe deserves much more discussion. Find what works for you. I think there were a number of messages in there which hit home the responsibility which we have of being aware of our mental health and also making sure that we find help, especially when we find that there is something going wrong. I do know that Grace requested that we end at the top of the hour. I'm just going to give one opportunity to Alan. Alan, you can ask your question. Grace, let me just ask for 2 minutes, and then we can be able to wrap up.
Bernard, they can ask for five more minutes. It's okay.
Okay, super. Yes, Alan, over to you.
Ronald, let me just pass on the opportunity to someone else. I just wasn't understanding what sleep hygiene is. Maybe she has explained it. Thank you.
Okay. Grace, you can possibly add a bit more to that conversation of sleep hygiene. I see a comment from Nana is saying thank you. I think a big hand clap. Let me try to, yes, Alan's question is what exactly is sleep hygiene? I think you could do that. We also have a question here from Millie. Millie says, how do we get our workers to support us better? I think that's the question from Millie. How do we get our workers, our employees to support us better? Grace says, thanks, Grace. My highlights, stress is contagious and have an alarm to go to sleep. Those are the key messages which Grace has taken away. I'll possibly add one question, Grace, to the two from Millie and from Alan. I think my question is, how do you help someone who you see is actually kind of going off on a tangent? Sometimes your boss is exploding, sometimes a colleague or a workmate. How do you start that conversation? You could possibly answer those and then wrap up the day.
Okay, I might forget the questions. Please remind me. Let me start with yours, Ronald. How do you maybe attempt to help a person who is going off on a tangent? Number one, it depends the level that this person is at. If the person is a CEO and you're the admin, you may not be the right person to bring this up to them. Remember the allies I talked about, there is always a person who is better placed to approach this thing. There's always a person you can talk to deliver the message better. In any workplace, there are people who are closer to this person, that the message coming from them, these people will be able to receive it better. If you're not my friend and you come and tell me, I noticed that you like wearing tight clothes, but you have a big tummy. They don't look so good on you, especially if you stick to, to round dresses. Definitely, I'll take it on the negative. I will not take that feedback. Yeah. So please get a person who is best placed to talk, to deliver the message. The other thing is the timing of that message. Yeah, there's so much that is around delivery. Timing of the message, who is delivering the message, where to deliver the message. It's possible that if you deliver something like that in the scrutiny of the public eye, no one will take it well. So the best thing to do, identify who is close to the person, and probably this person will be able to take this feedback from them. And then also be mindful of the timing and where you approach or deliver this message. That is one. Basically, be sensitive and considerate as you deliver your feedback, and when you get to talking to these people, you may not be direct you may not say things like, I notice you have a problem with ABCD. You may start with uploading them. You may say, you're very good at communication. You're very good at, these meetings, and I liked how you delivered ABCD. However, I've been struggling to understand why lately you do this. Give the person a chance to explain or share instead of saying, you have a problem, and I think, you need help. That may not be the right approach. Second thing, let me repeat sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene is basically your routine of sleep. It is supposed to be you making sure that you sleep for the same number of hours every day, or at least 4 days in your week. When you have less sleep, definitely meaning the brain didn't shut down, meaning whatever you had yesterday is going to be carried forward into today, meaning you're going to be mentally exhausted because your mental space is already in overdrive. So you will not be able to think right, make decisions fast. So sleep hygiene is basically your routine of sleep. It should not be, imbalance. It should be, if you set an alarm to wake up at 5, please set an alarm to go to bed. You could even have, a sleep ritual where every day before you go to bed, you take a glass of water and enter your bed. This brain will later learn that every time we are done with dinner and we're in our nightie and we take a glass of water around 10, we are getting ready to sleep. So you do it after some time, after a month. The moment you take this glass of water at 10, after dinner, the brain will easily shut down and you'll be able to doze. So sleep hygiene, how do you deliver to someone who is, the other question was?
Our other question was, how do we get our workers to support us better? And possibly you can add Linda's question to that. At what point can one identify they need professional help?
Okay. So how do you get your employees to support you? Normally, as the business normally has levels. It has top management, middle management, and then lower or support staff. Normally, top management neglects to share the vision in layman terms of the business. Yeah. So chances are that if your employees buy into the vision of the workplace, of the business, what you're trying to achieve and why you want to achieve it, they will feel like they are part of something. So if they start to believe in this vision, definitely you will get them to support. If they get to understand their part that they're supposed to play in achieving this vision, then they will. Basically, inclusion in understanding the vision, in their part, what the part they're supposed to play in order for this vision to be achieved. And number 3, the culture of the workspace or the workplace or the business. If you have poor working conditions, you don't listen to your employees, there's no way they'll listen to you. Yeah. So be mindful of an inclusive kind of culture where, number 1, you communicate what the business is trying to achieve. Number 2, you also listen to their maybe challenges and try to sort them, or even give them a timeline on what you can do for them. Then they'll respect you, they'll respect the vision and what you're trying to achieve. And I think that they can support you when. So it's basically 2 ways. You want something, give something. You want to be heard, listen. You want them to understand your vision, explain it in the simplest way that they can. Then tell them how they can help you to achieve it. It's very important for people to understand the role in the process. Yeah. At what point do you...
Exactly. That's the final question.
At what point can one identify that they need professional help? So, of course, we have a support system. At the point where you've talked to your mother, your sister, your best friend, and you feel like it is not helping, and you're feeling a certain way, and you don't understand why you're feeling a certain way, then definitely you seek professional help. You could be, let's say, the normal functionality of anyone is you go to bed when you want to sleep and you sleep through the night. And if you wake up, it's easy for you to fall back to sleep. Your appetite is okay. You can easily have breakfast and lunch, or you don't just emotionally eat, or you don't just go about your day and you forget to eat. Or when people tell you particular things or things happen, your emotional readiness to take these things or to deal is okay. At the point where you find yourself overreacting or not responding, or being emotionally very sensitive, or unable to take particular decisions or to be part of, basically you're not functioning as you should, and you've confided in the people around you and you feel like they're not helping, feel free to reach out to a counselor. And the counselor's thing, it takes time to build trust because you're talking to a stranger. So reach out to a person that you feel will be able to understand you. Yeah, of course, when you reach out to different people, they will refer different people. Talk to different counselors and see who is a good fit for you. Okay, let me answer one last one. What do you advise for people with changing hours of work? Now, this goes back to the employer. If you want these people to be productive, you cannot just drastically change their routine or shift. For instance, you can't be on night shift for 2 weeks and then they tell you tomorrow you're on day shift for the next 3 days. No, there's something we call mental preparation. When someone asks you of something on Monday, but the thing they're asking for is on Friday, you mentally process and prepare to either give this person a positive or negative answer. It's the same thing. When I am told that in September, I'll be on that day shift, my mind starts to prepare for me to be on that day shift. And normally there's supposed to be a break between the changes. So that change is not supposed to be drastic. So my advice would be to the employer, let your change of shift not be drastic, communicate well in time, and leave some free days so that this person can be able to mentally prepare for the change of that. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've learned something, a thing or two. Thank you, Ronald, for the invite.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Grace. Very, very insightful. Quite an intense conversation. I'm going to request that you drop your contact and email. I know a couple of people may want to reach out to you for a more intimate conversation. Please do drop. I've just requested Grace to put her contact in the chat box. Please reach out to her. This is her profession. This is what she does, and she can be able to help your workplace. She can be able to help you at an individual level. Grace, we are very honored for you sharing your heart with us this morning. I believe all of us who are on the call can honestly say we feel a bit better about this topic. At least we know what the triggers seem to be, what things we ought to worry about, and where we can be able to find help. Grace, thank you so much. A big thank you to everyone who has joined the call today. Thank you so much for joining. We'll be back next week with the Business Recovery Series every Thursday, 9 to 11. Please do follow our social media platforms. You can follow us on YouTube. Just look for Enterprise Uganda. You can follow us on Twitter at Uganda. Please do follow us even on the other platforms. And most of all, let's go out there and excel in our businesses. As we say at Enterprise Uganda, you are at the front line of transforming the country. You create the jobs, you create the taxes, you make this country a better place. Thank you for what we're doing, and we'll see you again next week. Have a blessed